Hey everyone, I'm NornQueenAlexis and welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the lore discussion series. Currently, we are still looking at Psychic Awakening Blood of Baal. We are on part 2, starting with the this event started with the Tyranids doing the devastation of Baal, and now we're moving into the cleanup of the Tyranids as they have lost Baal. So, joining me as always is Vicky the GM.
Hello.
And White.
Yo.
All right. So, before we get too deep into this, what did you think of the first part of this series so far with the Tyranid onslaught?
There was a lot of blood.
There was indeed a lot of blood. And also, I don't know, it feels a little underwhelming.
It feels a bit retready with the devastation of Baal mostly.
Like, I seem we're going to be getting to new stuff right now. It feels like, like with the first book, we had the whole stuff with, like, the Eldar going up against the Sinesh demons and such, and that was all, like, epic and stuff. Then we had Faith and Fury, which is, like, completely new stuff on that whole war in Taladus. Now we're at the Tyranid cleanup detail.
Yeah, that's what this book does feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a strange theme that I'm picking up on in the Psychic Awakening book. So the way they announced it, they made it sound like, oh, we're gonna do tie up a whole bunch of loose ends for a lot of stories that we kind of just left hanging. But what it has turned out to be, in my eyes, is just let's repeat a bunch of matchups we did in the past. Like, oh, we have Devastation of Baal 2.0. Oh, we have Eldar versus Slash Demons again. And then we're going to have Orks versus Space Wolves again. I feel like we could use some new matchups, is all I'm saying.
Makes like the whole matchup thing I'm a little more okay with, because except for like Faith and Fury was the most standard one ever of Space Marines versus Chaos Space Marines, but
it was some sisters thrown in.
Just doing Space Wolves versus Thousands.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just curious to see who's going up against the Necrons with the hints at the Deathwatch in Saga of the Beast.
Oh yeah, it's getting clearer and clearer that Deathwatch are going to be in Saga of the Beast. The only factions that, if I remember correctly, are, if this is going off of factions that were in the list that got released of factions getting rules that haven't gotten rules yet, and that's Harlequins, Death Guard, Necrons, Talons of the Emperor, and Sisters of Battle.
That's about it.
I'm interested for the Harlequins and the Inquisition. That one's going to be really cool.
Yeah, I can see them adding a bit extra stuff for the Inquisition in a Psychic Awakening book.
That White Dwarf is cool, but they could use stuff.
Yeah. They could just list a tiny bit more stuff. But yeah, shall we get into it?
All right, so the stars red with blood. Victor, if you'd like to take off.
The Blood Angel's homeworld was saved, but the cost had been terrible, and the war was far from over. Faced with the enormity of the Tyranid fleets and the numberless bio-horrors they carried, the Blood Angels and their successor chapters fought on nobly, launching the Angels' Halo offensive to take the fight to the stars. So yeah, this is what we learned Dante was doing last time.
Now, it does seem like they're taking them on in naval combat, which is arguably the Tyranids' weakest suit, since they don't have ships that can break the speed of light. Catching them in open space, it's probably the easiest.
Yeah, but you can't really catch them in open space because the Imperium doesn't do open space.
Well, here's the thing. As it brings up later on this page, there is no Tyranid naval presence here.
What?
They got pushed away by the warp storms. Is this Tyranids on planet?
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, that makes their weakness kind of moot.
Yeah, they just plot scarred their way out of the entire story.
Well, it's probably just organisms that were left on all the planets. So,
Well, yeah. But what I'm saying
But-
is it's Chaos's problem now.
all right. Not all of the Blood Angels' successor chapters that had survived the battle for Baal continued to fight in the region. Many chapter masters took their newly inducted Primaris Space Marines and left. What a bunch of a-holes. While some planned to return and fortify their own holdings. Others redeployed at Dante's request to strategically important systems outside the Red Scar, preparing the way for the liberation of the wider Imperium Nihilus. Those chapters that remained pledged to continue aiding Dante and the Blood Angels. Some, such as the Flesh Terrors, fought in the name of their shared lineage. Others did so in deference to Dante's title of Regent of Imperium Nihilus, for their commanders had witnessed Robuti Gilliman bestow that honor upon the bringer of Sanguinius' light. So, yeah, it's just, hey, some of the successor going like, later, dude.
I feel like Dante should have gotten a newer model out of this instead of Mephiston. Mephiston's barely mentioned.
Yeah, like he shows up once, and he's not even the focus.
Yeah.
What the heck? Like, Dante kind of really needs a new model. Doesn't even have to be Primaris, just a new model.
Yeah. We gotta have old man Dante.
His model does fit with his age.
Mm-hmm. Got kind of buggies to get off his damn lawn.
Yeah. Alright. I'm going to take the next two together because there's a tiny chunk and then a big chunk.
Yeah.
Alright. The redeployment and reinforcement of the Blood Angels and their successors was no swift task. While new battle brothers were trained, wounds healed, and repairs made, small forces braved the churning warp to reconnoiter the very nearest systems. His chapter returned to fighting strength. Dante coordinated the retaking of the Baal system himself, taking a squadron of ships to the outer world of Keru, a scrub-covered moon of a gas giant used by the Blood Angels as a monitoring station. The Tyranids had originally been drawn to the planetoid by the immense reserves of complex gases locked in its crust. Their hive ships were now gone, dispersed by the fury of the warp storms, but hordes of weapon beasts still befouled the moon's small sensoria cities. If Dante could reclaim this infested part of his chapter's homeworld, it would form a strong center from which the Angels' halo could expand. The Blood Angels launched their initial landings, and the battle began in earnest. I'm sorry, a moon covered by scrubs? But I don't want no scrubs.
That's what I was thinking too. Hey, yeah, we just keep the scrubs on the outer part of the system. Lose at a game, get declared a scrub? Nope, you're out of here.
Yep. Off to the
scrub worlds.
Yes, scrub world.
No, but jokes aside.
It does fit with the cleanup theme.
Yeah,
yes, it does.
But going along with the whole thing of this is it's cool to see the Tyranids are actually after this for their own purposes.
Yeah, they do want to. They were running out of vape juice.
Jesus, Victor.
What?
But they are going after gases and other non-bio...
organic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, who are the... Is it the venom throps that do
the gas?
smoke?
Yes.
Yeah. Gotta reinflate those venom throps. Running low.
Venoms and Mullins.
Yeah.
Lots of
Tropes. Alright. While Dante fought to secure dominance of the Baal system, Gabriel Seth took the Flesh Terrors out into the void. The Angel's Halo strategy called for the taking of 3 initial targets, which Dante had termed the Points of Grace. Hello, Knight. You're welcome.
Okay, continue.
To be seized as the Imperium's forces spread outwards in an expanding wave from the Baal system. These points were the strategic foci that were vital to the wider purging of the Red Scar, by virtue of their position or their assets. Each of the 3 points of grace could be reached by a series of very short warp jumps, plotted around scattered astropathic relays and substations. Yet even attempting these caused loss of life and severe damage to the largest of ships. So Gabriel Seth is heading out to be the vanguard, I guess.
Yep, and he's going to take a lot of damage getting there.
Yeah. Let's see. Anyone else want to comment on that? That was a very dry bit of dry paragraph.
Like, we learn more about the Gabriel Seth stuff later, so...
Alright. Seth volunteered the Flesh Terrors to take the first point of grace, the planet Ashalon in the Kranos system. This industrial world was a key supplier to many systems, but Dante had chosen it for another reason. Navigators and astropaths from the Blood Angels fleet had reported that the system was completely lost to their arcane sight. Many systems in the Red Scar were shadowed, but the darkness surrounding Ashalon was denser than most. More disturbingly, this shadow was growing. Something lurked there, spreading its influence. Few in the Imperial armies could agree on what it might be, but Seth knew in his heart that it could not be allowed to continue. Ooh, spooky!
You know, it's kind of interesting that the Devastation of Baal talked about demons aiding the Blood Angels, but this book goes out of its way to try to make it so that they're not there.
I don't think they're ever mentioned in this entire book.
Yeah, it almost seems like they're being retconned out.
Not so much retcon out, just the Blood Angels aren't mentioned figuring it out.
No, because, like, quite literally, they find... in Devastation of Baal, they actually see presence of demons.
True.
So it's just interesting that this book goes out of its way to avoid that.
All right. Meanwhile, the Blood Angels and the Angels and Carmine sent vanguard forces to the second point of grace, the linked space stations and orbital platforms of the Gamma 4 system. These facilities contain a significant astropathic relay which made the otherwise uninhabited system a regular way station for ships undertaking perilously long journeys. No word had been received from the bonded armsmen employed by the Adeptus Astronomica to protect the site, and the vanguard warriors were tasked with ensuring its safety or learning of its fate. So, more planets that are all mysterious-like. And I'm guessing the third point of grace is also mysterious-like.
Yeah, that's a theme in this book.
Right.
So mysterious.
Should I do the sidebar now, or should we finish?
Let's save it until we finish this page.
Alright. Let's see. Having vowed to reclaim the planet identified as the third point of grace, Captain Sandini of the Blood Angels' 5th Company assaulted the fortress world of Balik Alphas. Granted reserves from the 9th Company and a significant number of the armory's remaining asset, Sandini did not believe in being overcautious. The firepower at his command would, he believed, allow the Blood Angels to destroy whatever Tyranids had managed to make it past Balik Alpha's formidable defenses. Once secure, the planet would provide the Sons of Sanguinius with a strong anchor point from which assaults on other systems could be launched. Right, so...
We have the 5th Company Captain, Sanguini.
Sanguini.
I'm sorry, that's a hilarious name. Is that a name of an actual angel, though, I wonder?
Or just a silly version of Sanguinius.
Sandini. Mamma mia, it's a Tyranid.
Oh, Sandini. Oh, okay. That's okay. Sandini.
I've never heard a name like that before, so I'm just wondering.
It's probably just a 40k name where you make a name sound slightly different, and boom, there you go.
And boom, there goes the dynamite.
Indeed. Alright. Unbeknownst to the Blood Angels and their allies, the Leviathan fleets swarming through the Red Scar were more than aware of events in the Baal system. Synaptic imperative passed from one organism to another, between fleets that were many light years apart. Leviathan's experience in many parts of the galaxy had given it the opportunity to learn. It was familiar with mankind's varied armies, with the way in which they moved through the void and defended prey worlds. Through an aggregated stimulus and response on a vast scale, the Hive Fleet ensured that its organisms surrounding the Baal system went into overdrive, adapting, modifying, and devouring. Interesting. Nice to get a little Tyranid perspective, even though it's not from any particular point of view.
I don't know. They call it the Prey Worlds. I think that's awesome.
I mean, yeah. Isn't it? It's all just Prey Worlds.
Yeah. I think it's just cool to see that how quick Tyranid communication is.
That's the thing, though. Like, the hive mind, in theory, should be able to just telepathically send info between its various.
But even then, doesn't telepathic message take time?
It does, yeah. But I get why do I get the feeling that the Shadow and the Warp makes that just a lot more stable?
I mean, if they're passing their message through the Shadow of the Warp, they're not getting warp interference.
Yeah, exactly. The Shadow is the warp interference.
Yeah, it might actually be almost instantaneous.
Probably not instantaneous, but as fast as thought can move.
Yeah.
Which
the
is pretty
fastest
fast.
Thought.
Begone, thought.
To move speedily across light years.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably just as quick as astro-pathic messages, and those are quick.
All right, let's continue.
Dante also dispatched smaller missions in support of the Angel's Halo strategy. Ships carrying no more than a few squads undertook short warp jumps to relieve embattled convoys of material or refugees. They tested Tyranid forces for weakness and conducted lightning-fast vertical insertions to perform assassinations and extractions. All the while, the ship's augurs strove to increase Dante's knowledge of both the Tyranids' disposition and the state of the warp storms across the Red Scar. The fragmentary reports of these forces were able to send made for the fragmentary reports these forces were able to send made for grim reading.
I really like that.
Isn't all reading in 40k grim reading?
I think this is the message that said it bad, yo.
Well, no, not even that. Like, my favorite part of that whole thing is that Dante was trying to rescue as many refugees as possible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It shows that the Blood Angels actually care.
Yeah, they do.
They're ever so noble.
Yeah, they're like the number 2 carriest Space Marines.
Well, the number 1 being the Space Wolves.
No, Salamanders.
Salamanders burn people alive.
They still try.
To burn people alive?
I mean,
besides, that's only in like one Horus Heresy novel that they're actually benevolent.
There's also the time the Salamanders went to the world. It's the one that has the Exodites on the cover.
Oh, yeah.
And they burnt that. Remember, they burnt that planet to the ground because they were worshiping the Exodites as their saviors. But hey, it's okay because Vulcan promised to defend that world with his life after he burnt it to a crisp.
Yeah.
Dude's bad, yo. Was that the same place he shows up in Beast? In the Beast Rises?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
I will defend this place with my life from absolutely nothing.
I did not make that connection.
Yee.
Go figure. Alright. I'm gonna finish this and then we'll get to the sidebar. Mm-hmm. Let's see. The surging warp storms born in the aftermath of the Great Rift showed no signs of calming. The Shadow and the Warp was in evidence throughout the entire Red Scar. Tyranid hive fleets carved through many Imperial systems, and wherever their malignant touch reached, madness flowered. The approach of the Tyranid hive ships appeared to coincide with claims of horrific psychic phenomena. Hope was in short supply, but not yet extinguished. Dante's attacks from Baal had prepared the way for further forays, and with the increasing number of Primaris Space Marines being created, there was still a chance they could prevail. Okay, that's a nice little upbeat note to end this part.
Yeah. All right, so let's leave that blurb.
All right. The democracy of death. Let's see. With the arcane biotechnology to create Primaris Space Marines and genetic samples of unprecedented purity revealed by Archmago's call, hopes were kindled. Perhaps the growing curse of the Black Rage could finally be arrested. Within the breasts of the sanguinary priests, desperate belief clutched at the assurances made by the tech priest. Oh, right. I thought that was supposed to say tech priest, but no, it's just call. The genetic lineage would be undiluted. The signs of sanguinius would be cleansed. There were doubters and naysayers. Some posited that the closer to the angel's purity the genetic samples were, the closer to his sacrifice their warriors would be, thus intensifying the death visions brought on during the eve of battle. Others questioned the wisdom of eliminating the curse at all, claiming that surely, in willing themselves to overcome and suppress the madness, they maintained the strength and nobility of their primogenitor. Okay, this is...
That I like.
This is a nice little thing just to put as a sidebar, because there were initially questions. Wait, if they're Primaris Marines, do they still have the Black Rage and Red Thirst? Well, turns out they do.
Yeah, because if you read Dark Imperium, the Call Inferior's talking to Gilliman and talks about how those aren't the Blood Rage, I mean. That's not a defect. That's actually encoded in there.
Yeah, because the Red Thirst shows up even before Sanguinius shows up.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, quite literally, it's a bug. It's a feature, not a bug.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a Bethesda game.
The Black Rage, on the other hand, is a bug because...
Yeah, it's a curse.
It's a curse because Sanguinius died and his sons can't stop can't stop seeing their dad getting killed.
Yeah. Also, it's Archmago's Dominus call.
Well, I'm sorry. Archmago's Genitor Dominus Belisarius call.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's a mouthful. Let's see. The Battle Brothers, newly inducted into the Blood Angels, and their successors in the aftermath of Baal's salvation, proved to be worthy of their chapters. Whether survivors of the original warriors brought to Baal by Gilliman's fleet, or matured using Call's imparted technology, they were strong and pure of heart. But hope in these times can be treacherous. It was the Angels and Carmines who first revealed to Commander Dante the induction of the Primaris Space Marines into their death company. Since then, the Blood Angels and each of their successor chapters have seen their death companies filled just as readily with wearers of ebon-painted Mark X power armor. While some commanders lamented that their Primaris battle brothers would not now herald a new beginning, all chapter masters recognized what it truly meant, that the Primaris Space Marines were true inheritors of Sanguinius' legacy.
That's interesting. So the fact that they actually had this feature, I guess we'll say, or this effect, made their brothers more trusting of them.
Yeah, which is a nice way. Well, that probably makes it better in the sense that they're easier to trust. Kind of like if the Dark Angels could only trust Lazarus.
Yeah, or
he's a member of the Inner Circle.
Yeah, that's the thing. But he is the first one, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
so it took a while.
Well, here's the thing. He was already a normal Dark Angel Marine, and he got turned into a Primaris Marine.
True.
But the White Dwarf says that there were Primaris Marines being made, Inner Circle, already, so...
It's a nice little tidbit to show how... why Marines, besides the natural, reason of, hey, we're getting overrun, we need every man that we can, every advantage we can. But other than that, it's also nice to keep it on, give them a reason from the traditional side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
Also, I do like the fact that, I'm just gonna say it now, I don't think the Primaris are grim dark enough. Let me rephrase that. I don't think they're gothic enough. They're kind of too clean.
Yeah, but they look better.
Yeah, they do look better, but if the early Primaris Marines that come out look super squeaky clean, if later they would start putting out like when they put out old like characters further down the line, they start looking more gothic again because they're like they're getting older. They have more history on them because most of the Primaris are just clean slates. They kind of lack all of the traditions and like how the Space Wolf Primaris don't look like they don't have a lot of fur and stuff.
Not to shut you down, but maybe this would be like great for Ritual of the Damned.
True.
And I raise you a White Scars Primaris upgrade sprue that has like the chain falchions and those severed heads.
Yeah, like they need more of that.
Well,
Even with the upgrade kits, in my mind, they still like kind of look a bit too clean.
Well, you can
Regardless.
fix that.
Regardless, let's move on. Shall we handle the sidebar first before starting the next?
Yeah, let's do the sidebar.
All right. Sec Channel Angelus, Astra Senioris, Hack, Scarlet Blade. Yeah, it's a bunch of nonsense. I cannot bear it any longer. The pain is too intense. It is all around me. A multitude of dissonant voices. Human voices. Inane, wordless babbling. There is no form to them. They are not abiding by proved praxis for this or any other sector. My kind? Whoever they are, Captain. They are not my kind. I have traveled 16 sectors ever since I gave my eyes to His Imperial Majesty. I am fluent in astropathic forms of these and a dozen more. I can disentangle the gutter thoughts of my kind, who have spent too many years with rogue traders. But these are the brays of mindless children. They are undirected, the mix of emotions too overwhelming to focus on. I do not know who they all are. Wait, you're coming to the astropathic quiet chamber? There is no need. I cannot. No, I quite understand my position, Captain. Yes, my lord, we will keep trying to reach Bellic Alphas. So, apparently, astropaths are getting flooded with a lot of psychic white noise, shall we say.
You could almost call it a psychic awakening that's happening.
Yeah, what the heck?
It's really interesting when you think about it. This is literally a psychic awakening versus a shadow in the warp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's good to know, to see that astropaths are... Well, I say it's not good in the sense that astropaths are having issues. All right. Moving on. All right. Execution's Edge. The Blood Angels tore towards the last major infestation of the Baal system, determined to eradicate the Tyranids. Yet the aliens' loss of their hive ships had dulled neither their instincts nor their fangs. All right, let's see. Blood Angels' vanguard forces spearheaded the assault against the Tyranids on the semi-desert world of Keru. From orbit, it was apparent that the Xenos were clustered around the fortifications erected by Keru's dwindling Blood Angels garrison.
Right.
This is the setup.
Hemisphere. The Tyranids had surrounded these sites and were assaulting them in waves. Though cut off from the influence of the hive mind, the swarms were far from directionless as Dante had hoped. It was clear that some kind of control was still exerted over them. So that means big synaptic creature.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like a hive tyrant or a swarm lord.
Yeah. The plot thickens. Let's see where it goes. Lieutenant Perdalus led the force that advanced upon Sensorum Primus, the largest of the planet's facilities and its capital. When the Tyranids had invaded Keru, its human garrison had succumbed as quickly to madness as to the aliens' bioweapons. However, the Blood Angels posted to the planet when Baal was fortified had defended it with dogged determination, holding their positions for several months. With the Tyranids pouring their main strength towards Baal itself, the Sensoria cities on Keru had been able to marshal their reserves of ammunition, but these were on the verge of running out when Dante's ships arrived. Okay, so good to know that They made it just in time.
Seems to be the theme here.
Yeah. Right. Perdalis and his Reaver squads made a vertical insertion via grav chutes, deploying 2 miles from Sensorum Primus. Arriving towards sunset, the blood-red light of the Baal system star masked their descent. Of course, it would be blood-red. Lad! Covert squads of infiltrators and incursors who had worked their way from separate landing zones now made contact. Out of the deepening shadows stalked also the chief librarian of the Blood Angels, Mephiston. Perdalis had not been briefed as to the Lord of Death's presence, and he welcomed the sinister battle psycho warily. Man, they keep calling Blood Angels they keep describing Mephiston as sinister.
He's just all like, I'm here now, let's do this.
I just gotta give props to the writing. Like I love like the use of certain terms like vertical insertion, talking about how they're arriving through sunset. Like I love that kind of good tactical writing.
Yeah, tactical.
Except the whole blood red sunset masking their descent.
Yeah, of course they had to throw that in there.
I mean, if there's a blood red color in the air, might as well, best time to drop in wearing red.
Yeah, like it's quite convenient that the Blood Angels keep fighting in blood red environments.
Think about it.
Right. The infiltrators and incursors had amassed a wealth of information concerning the tactical situation at Sensorum Primus. The Sensoria city stood at the foot of a cliff which shielded its delicate arrays from rogue Voxgeists emitted from the south, but meant its defenders could not withdraw in that direction. Waves of Tyranids attacked the city's barricades, broods of weapon beasts fighting with claws or firing acid goblets that screeched through the air. In their midst stalked larger bioforms, leader beasts that bore diamond-hard talons and weapon symbiotes that spat living projectiles. All the while, the city's automated guns and remaining Blood Angels defenders fought to keep the beasts at bay. So yeah, there are a bunch of synapse creatures.
All I can think about is that that one mission from Space Marine where you have to turn on the automated defenses. And all the orcs just keep coming if you don't. And once you turn them on, you just see them all just get vaporized by heavy bolter fire.
Wow, spice. Ah. Sorry, I was I was voice acting orcs from Space Marines. Alright. The vanguard struck as Baal's star sank to the horizon. Arcing smoke grenades landed amongst the Tyranids, and the air filled with the sounds of cracking chitin and erupting alien ichor. The infiltrators and incursors advanced. Infiltrators are the snipers, and what are the incursors again?
They're the ones that plant bombs and have, like, SMGs.
Oh, right, those guys. Saboteur.
They have the cool goggles.
Ah, right. Advanced from cover to cover along an ancient riverbed, firing ceaselessly.
I love how everything is ancient.
I mean, the whole galaxy is ancient if you think about it.
Heckin' ancient, yo.
Yeah. Attacking several broods at once, the Blood Angels spread out from their initial lines of advance, each squad working in synchrony?
I think they mean synchronization.
Synchronicity is the word. Can someone check that for me? Synchrony. And see if that's an actual word.
It doesn't seem to actually be a word.
Of course.
It's Logothic.
It seems to be the name of a credit card company. Wait,
each squad working in synchrony.
I put in definition with it, and it is an actual word, and it means simultaneous action or occurrence.
Fine.
So yeah, it is a word. Sorry, D-Dubs. You got us this time.
Heckin' got us.
This time.
Wait, so if all the defenders have to do is just get covered in Tyranid gore, and they're practically invisible because they gain active camouflage because everything's blood red.
You know, they keep saying like looking at the word ancient riverbed. Now I just want to think like, when are they going to have one where they're going down like one that was recently put up by the Karoo Valley Authority?
3 days shrubbery down the road.
Yeah.
Okay.
Freshly planted garden.
Freshly planted riverbed. Alright. The Tyranids reacted instantly, turning to face the greater threat at their rear. Hormagaunts bounded over their dead through the dense fog of smoke and reeking physaline. Bolt shells, unimpeded by the thick haze, consistently found their mark, but where one Xenos fell, 3 more clawed their way forward. The swarm was now at the Blood Angel's throat, talons instinctively aiming at armor joints and eye lances.
Ooh.
Tyranids do instinctively know how to kill a lot.
They can poke your eyes out.
I mean, they are, apex predators for a reason.
Yeah, and the hive mind does implant knowledge on how to kill things, and Marines have been dying a lot.
Yeah, kind of fought them a lot.
Yeah. All right.
Without their head, they're powerless.
I mean, can't Genestealers like rip apart a Terminator in seconds?
Cock shotgun with malicious intent.
Like they're
Yes,
made of
they
paper.
can. Let's see. The Reavers had waited for their optimum moment to strike. Shouldn't that be optimal moment? Whatever. As one silhouette that had seemed part of the scrub. No, not the scrubs again. Became a blur of motion. Shock grenades exploded, and the Reavers' amplified roars sounded like predatory snarls of rage as their combat knives became blooded. Through the shifting smoke shrouding the swarm, Mephiston darted with uncanny speed. Oh no, he used warp speed, his hazy form outlined by arterial sprays. Death screeches filled the air around him as flashes of psychic power lit up the smoke. Okay, that is a cool image.
Is it bad? The only thing I can think of is that terrible meme, like Nothing Personnel kid just getting sliced into bits by an anime sword.
Right? Did the Reavers just freaking Sam Fisher some Tyranids?
Yes.
They actually, no, they didn't. Because for some reason, these Blood Angel Reavers thought to, yell at Tyranids. Why?
I mean, wouldn't you?
I mean,
no.
They're just walking up, slitting throats. Their knives became bloodied. I think the predatory snarls of rage are actually used to cover their advance.
Well, their whole thing is about intimidating people. So
Yeah, but they're not fighting peoples, yo.
they were distracted by Mephiston apparently twisting his nips to dial up his speed and running around like crazy.
That's true. That is true. Let's move on.
It's like
Moving on. Then the vanguard suddenly withdrew. Reavers pulled back under the ferocious covering fire of incursors, and Mephiston threw up shimmering barriers that defied the living ammunition of the foe. Upon the Dusty's riverbed high banks, Eliminators, previously motionless in the pools of shadow, now chose their moment to fire their silent bolt sniper rifles at high-value targets amongst the Tyranids. Wait, haven't they learned that shooting synapse creatures is kind of pointless in 8th?
Ha!
Not if you're playing Deathwatch.
Alright. Let's see. The Xenos poured after the vanguard in an animalistic surge, but Dante had been right to sense a lingering control over the Xenos. While the main swarm instinctively pursued the Blood Angels, imperatives had pulsed outwards from the leader beast, and lictors and genestealers now sprang from the thin scrub. No! Damn you, scrubs! At the Space Marines' flanks and rear, lightning flash claws and talons tore through Mark 10 armor, hewing a gory path through the Blood Angels' ranks. Many assassin beasts were taken out by pinpoint bolt fire and sweeps of heavy blades, but the fighting was desperate. As night fell, a foul rain of spores began to descend from the sky, as the leader beast's psychic impulses drove their forces to surround the vanguard. Okay, how are they getting spores into the air?
Oh, so interesting thing about the Tyranids. The capillary towers can just grow naturally. It's part of these spores that all Tyranids emit from their bodies. You know all those vents on their back? Those all pour microscopic spores into the atmosphere that change the entire atmosphere of the planet.
Okay.
See, why can't Orc spores do that? I need to send a copyright strike against the Tyranid.
So Orc spores, what they do is when they get released, they are essentially a fungus. So they have to find certain areas that they can grow, and depending on the lighting and the soil, they turn into different creatures. Though I don't know about how canon that is, because that comes from pre-3rd edition.
Yeah.
I believe that's still canon.
All I'm saying is I wish it turned the sky green, but that's just me.
All right. It was then that Dante's own forces entered combat. Tongues of flame speared from the night sky, illuminating red and golden warriors. As intended, Mephiston and the Vanguard had drawn the Tyranids away from the Sensoria city, stretching the aliens' reach and forcing them to fight on two fronts. Acting on the Vanguard force's information, the descending angels of Dante's sanguinary guard and suppressors first targeted the leader beasts, cutting the head from the serpent in flurries of heavy fire and blows of crackling and carmine blades. Mephiston and Perdalis led the Vanguard to hammer the remaining broods, and after much bloodshed, the last traces of the swarm were finally put down. Hooray!
Actually cool as hell.
I do like the imagery that they actually use for this, where it is the two stars in the sky, and you see some of the Tyranids just setting up with all their guns.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Over Baal, there are two suns, also known as two balls of gas.
You need to stop.
One hanging slightly lower than the other, but that's
you need to
totally
stop.
This is the card.
all right, moving on.